Indonesia's Nusa Dua, AP, world leaders are gathering in Indonesia's idyllic Bali island for a summit of the group of 20 major economies starting on Tuesday, and the discord over Russia's war in Ukraine and simmering tensions between the United States and China are proving to be foreboding backdrops. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen stated that ending the conflict would be the single best thing that we can do for the world economy as a recession looms and central banks battle decades-high inflation that was partially sparked by the war. In an article published in the Telegraph, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak referred to Russia as a rogue state and criticized Vladimir Putin for his absence. In Ukraine, critical infrastructure has been destroyed by Russian assaults, worsening the suffering in the affected cities as winter sets in. The G-20 summit offers another chance for leaders to demonstrate their shared support for Ukraine during debates that, in Sunak's words, are separate from those on how we can reinforce our common security. The war's effects have spread around the world in a variety of ways, as a result of disruptions in food imports and energy supplies that have driven up living expenses significantly. The UN Black Sea Grain Initiative is up for renewal on Saturday, and whether Russia will agree to extend it will be of utmost importance to countries facing hunger. The agreement, struck in July, allowed Ukraine, a key producer of grains for the world market, to resume shipments from ports that had been mostly closed down due to the fighting for months. Russia briefly withdrew from the agreement but later returned, after strides were made in resolving problems pertaining to payments for Russian exports of food and fertilizer. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed hopefulness that the initiative would be renewed. According to him, the initiative helped to stabilize markets and lower food prices. In their first face-to-face meeting since Biden's inauguration in January 2021, Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Joe Biden met on Monday, according to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. For the world's efforts to reduce carbon emissions that contribute to climate change and other problems, cooperation between the two greatest economies is essential, he said. Even though there are disagreements over trade, technology, and other issues, the meeting between Biden and Xi on the eve of the official G20 summit meetings was a step toward finding common ground. They would set the appropriate direction for the China-US relationship, according to Xi. Chinese officials have criticized the Biden administration's decision to halt exports of cutting-edge computer chips to China last month, which they see as a national security measure that increases American competitiveness with Beijing. After the meeting with Xi, U.S. officials said no joint statement was anticipated and that it was unlikely that significant policy developments would occur. Even so, the fact that the two sides' top leaders have finally convened after a protracted absence due to the pandemic represents progress of the sort that might enable more fruitful discussions in the larger G20 summit, which will also include the European Union and 19 of the world's largest economies. 10 additional nations were invited as guests. The nations in the group include Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union. They also include Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Mexico, and Russia. Spain is the current host nation. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said at the B20 business conference, which ended on Monday, that the G20 was made for moments like these and built for these challenges. Together, we can accomplish much more than we ever could on our own, he declared.